Hi guys, it's Katie and I'm back working with the My Favorite Things donut dies again, and I just wanted to try a few different things, and so I thought I would share it with you today while I'm working with them. As you saw on my last video, I did the sprinkles individually and used my quick stick pen to add them to the front of this donut. And it made a very fun donut. You can use different colors and a rainbow of colors, and it just turned out really cute. But I wanted to try a few different things just to kind of get a feel of what I might really like when I'm working with these dies. And so I'm going to be working with this first donut. This is cream cardstock, vintage cream cardstock from Paper Tray Ink. And I'm just going to die cut straight onto the frosting piece with the sprinkles, and I'm taping it down. Of course, if you had a magnetic plate that would help, but I like to tape it down because I don't want it to move when I put the top plate on and ruin the paper that I've got cut, and so it's just easier to tape it down, run it through my Big Shot, and then you'll see how it comes out, and all the little pieces just pop right out, or you might need to help them. And I'm going to save those little pieces for another project later on, of course. But now I've got negative space here on my frosting piece of the donut, and I went ahead and die cut some pink cardstock. And then I'm just putting some glue on the donut part using my Mono Multi glue. And I'm going to use the wide end and kind of spread it around so that I make sure I have glue everywhere when I'm sticking down all those little pieces. And then I'm going to put the frosting back on there. And then I'm going to use my quick stick pen and put all those little pieces of sprinkles in each little hole there. Now, just like the first one, you have to individually put every little piece of sprinkle on there when you're using this die. And it is a little bit time consuming. However, you can pick the colors, you can do whatever you want. You can make a multitude of different cards, different donuts using these. It just is very time consuming, so this is not something that you're going to be mass producing. And at this point I realized that there's glue on the end of my little pointer, and so I got it cleaned up, and I went ahead and fast forwarded and got all of the little sprinkles put onto my donut. And at this point you've got another cute donut, and I tried to zoom in so you could see, and it wasn't zooming in very well. It was just blurry. Anyway, you've kind of got the same effect as the first one. However, it's flat because all of those little pieces are inlaid inside the frosting. So if this was something you were going to mail, this would probably be a good technique. This is the one that I've really been wanting to try out, and so I'm using this Dreamweaver embossing paste by Wendy Vecchi that I picked up at Simus's Stamp, and I've just got a piece of cardstock that I used to make sprinkles, and I'm going to use that negative space as a stencil, and sticking my frosting piece on the back, I'm going to tape it on there so it doesn't move. And with that, I didn't really have to line it up perfectly because of course sprinkles are not perfect, but I did want there to not be anything showing through the stencil. And I'm working with some Stampin' Up! Ink. This is Gumball Green, and it's a water-based dye ink, and it works just fine for mixing with my embossing paste. And I'm just going to smooch it onto my clear acrylic block. If you had a craft mat, that would work too. And then I'm going to get a little bit of embossing paste out. And for this teeny tiny little piece, you don't need a lot. I got way too much, but I went ahead later and I used the rest of it up on some other donuts. When working with this embossing paste, you want to make sure, I kind of think it's just like frosting, you want to make sure that you're getting all of the food coloring mixed in there good. So you want to make sure you're getting all the ink mixed in there good, so you don't have big clumps of green and big clumps of white. So just mix it up really well and then scrape it off onto your tool. These tools I got with my Cricut machine a long time ago, and so they work out perfectly for the embossing paste because otherwise I hardly ever use them. So I'm sticking them on over the stencil, and with a small image like this, I've found that it doesn't really matter if it's too consistent. When there's bigger images that you're covering, I like to make sure that they're all smooth. But after I've got it on there and I know that it's filled in all of those little holes, I'm going to scrape off the top and save that embossing paste. I went ahead, like I said, and used it on other images. But really, I probably could have gone with a much smaller amount of embossing paste. And now I'm going to peel it off, and there you go. There are my little green sprinkles. I went with green for St. Patrick's Day because the other day McKinley got herself a green sprinkled donut at the grocery store. Now I'm going to try some stickles. I have this whole basket of stickles that I've had forever, and I've never used them all up. So that's what I'm going to use now, and I wanted to just try this as I was thinking of different ideas. Of course, with the stickles, you could just randomly stick them on there. You could cover the whole frosting piece if you wanted, but just for the sake of showing you today and what I wanted to do, I'm going to use the stencil. So I've got this Dazzling Details from Stampin' Up. This is kind of their clear type of stickles. And then I've got the cinnamon colored stickles from Ranger Ink. And again, I've got my donut and my stencil, and I'm just going to line it up as best I can and tape it on the back so that it doesn't move while I'm working with it. And here I'm using blue painter's tape. It was just what was closest at the time, but I do use both kinds of tape when I'm holding things down. So I'm going to start with the cinnamon stickles and fill in a few of the holes. And like I said, this is something you probably could have done freehand, but I wanted to use the stencils just so I kind of had the uniform shape. And I went ahead and I sped up this stickle applying because it took quite a bit of time. Again, it's another time-consuming one, but it does have a fun effect. So if you're wanting to try something out, and I guess when I get new products, sometimes I'm like, what do? I have run out of ideas of things to do. So I was kind of brainstorming, what are some different things that I could do with these materials, these products that I bought. And so these were some of the things that I thought, and I just thought I would share with you guys today. So after I get all of the stickles put on here, I'm going to peel it off and show you what it looks like. It's just a fun little transformation when you peel the stencil off, and you've got some shimmer and glitter. You're going to want to make sure that this dries really well before you use it on a project, but you've got a very fun different technique there. And then I've got my inlaid piece, and I've got my donut with embossing paste on it, and so I've got some different donuts to work with. And I went ahead and I made a couple more cards. The first one uses the green embossing paste donut, and I'm going to be sharing all of these cards on my blog. And then this is the one I used with the inlaid sprinkles. And I will post all of these to my blog as well as supplies and more details. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.